government announced new rules for cash deposits. With just a few days to go before the deadline of deposits and exchanges runs out, the government has now said that there's a limit, and every time you deposit more than 5,000 rupees, you will be asked 2 questions. That was announced yesterday, but it led to a whole reaction from the public, with various people, including politicians like Yogendra Yadav, showing how they had given an explanation. Many called it unreasonable because initially the government had said that people could ask if it was their hard-earned money, that while the taxman was watching, they could go ahead and deposit it till the 30th of December. Well, we're going to be speaking to Yogendra Yadav in just a bit. We also have other panelists, because remember, one crucial question that's being asked now is that if the government is so keen on cleaning up politics and also doing a cash cleanup, why doesn't it apply the same principle to the cleanup of political parties' funding as well? This comes in the midst of the Election Commission announcing and having a new proposal that any funding beyond 2,000 rupees should be declared. Whereas at the moment, even those of 20,000 rupees, which is the limit, isn't declared yet. So we are going to speak to our guests here. We have someone from the Democratic Reforms Association, which looks at political funding and looks at political parties. We also have someone from the Congress. We are going to be speaking to them, and from the BJP as well. But first, let's just see how the finance minister explains and tries to justify the new rule of the government.
What is your limit को लेकर के इस पे आपने भी कल कुछ clarify?
देखिए, today there are no exemptions. Now there is no scope further for earning old currency because all exemptions have been phased out. Therefore, if somebody goes every day and deposits old currency, the same person, what suspicion does it raise? How is he getting it every day? पूरी तैयारी थी. एक भी दिन ऐसा नहीं रहा जिस दिन आरबीआई ने एडिक्वेट करेंसी स्टॉक बैंकिंग सिस्टम के थ्रू रिलीज नहीं किया. एक सर्टन लेवल ऑफ करेंसी रोज रिलीज करनी है, उनकी पहले से तैयारी इसकी थी. तो एडवांस प्रिंटिंग और करंट प्रिंटिंग को जोड़कर वो उस स्टॉक को मेंटेन करते रहे हैं, और आज भी आरबीआई के पास मोर देन एडिक्वेट स्टॉक है, नॉट ओनली टू लास्ट देम फॉर 30th December but to last them far beyond that.
So how much withdrawal? Restrictions on withdrawal?
You'll wait when we take a decision. We'll announce that. I'm not going to.
So कुछ media reports started talking about higher income tax limits and change in slabs. So it will go up to say 4 lakh.
Well, just whenever we decide, we'll let you know.
So that was the finance minister assuring citizens that it isn't something which isn't thought of. I just wanted to, before I go to my guest, I just wanted to tell you that our audience today is from the Fortune Institute of International Business, and what we've seen is in a lot of the schools, a lot of the students have been pro demonetization. But first, let's just go across to our guests, and first to Yogendra Yadav, who has recently also started his own political party, so he'll be talking about the funding as well. But Mr. Yadav, I saw very recently, just a couple of hours ago, you have tweeted what you gave as an explanation for making a deposit. Tell us about it.
Let me begin with 2 clarifications. Number 1, I'm not anti-demonetization. As a matter of fact, when it was started, we said, look, anyone who wants to do something against black money should be given a chance. Let's give the Prime Minister a chance. And if there's some inconvenience, let's try and put up with it. Number 2, it is not all kinds of explanations, etc. There are 2 things. One, the government has said if you want to make more than 2.5 lakhs of cash deposit, you should explain what the source of that deposit was. I'm not questioning that at all. It is only about yesterday's order, which is idiotic, which is lunatic. The order said that if you now want to make a deposit, and incidentally the RBI circular does not say first time deposit, second time deposit, anything of that sort. So the Prime Minister says demonetization. After that, they say, please don't rush to banks. There's enough time. You have 50 days. You have up to 30th of December. and take your time. And then suddenly, yesterday they tell you, if you have not deposited by now, you should give explanation why you did not do so. This is what my today's letter is all about. Like many other citizens, I wanted to deposit something. I told my wife and everyone, look, let's not rush. The poor bank people are already harassed. Let's not put that there. Let the queue be over or at least shorter. We'll do it then. So we wanted to do it today. Yesterday comes this very strange order. I look up the RBI circular, which requires me to offer an explanation to my bank why I'm depositing. And all I said was simply this: look, I do not think I need to offer any special explanation. I was waiting for the queue to end. My Prime Minister, my Finance Minister, and my Reserve Bank of India told me not to rush. They told me you have time till 30th of December. I believed them. That's the only explanation. I mean, what else can I say? So I just tweeted that letter. And by now that letter has about, I said, if you agree with me, then please retweet it. And I just realized the letter has already been retweeted about 3.3 thousand times by now. So that's already a campaign. And clearly lots and lots of people agree with the fact that this is an idiotic order. And what I'm really concerned, Sunitra, is not about that inconvenience that it puts to someone like me. That's a small thing. The real question is the legitimacy and credibility of our financial and banking institutions. They give you one promise today, they take it back tomorrow. Please remember, currency is nothing except a piece of paper which works because people trust it. The day that trust is broken, currency is worth nothing. And unfortunately, that is not what the government seems to realize.
Yes, and you know, you heard what Arun Jaitley, the finance minister, has given us an explanation, and that's what the government is also saying, that look, we may have said something else, but this is a dynamic system. We realized that it was being abused because people were coming in over and over again, and the system was being abused, and so we had to tweak it. Isn't that acceptable, Yogendra Yadav?
Our finance minister is a master of half-truths. I don't know how else to respond to it. Look, the situation is dynamic. Of course, it's dynamic. You tell me, first, please don't rush. You have up to 30th of December. I do not go even once to the bank because I believe you, I trust you. Then you tell me on 20th of December, why did you not go earlier? Why did you trust me? Why did you believe me? Didn't you know that I was going to change it? Is that the message the finance minister of this country wants to give me? The half lie that they are saying since yesterday evening is that it won't apply to people who are going for the first time. But please check the RBI circular. The RBI circular says nothing of that kind, and as a first time depositor, I am expected to give an explanation. What does Mr. Arun Jaitley have to say about it? He's always very clever, but I'm afraid too clever by half.
Well, you know, the government spokesperson who perhaps would have countered you, he is not here yet because of traffic problems. But I think it's interesting to see, you know, you talked about your thing getting retweeted, and many people actually, when we spoke, we got really mixed responses. Many people were upset as they felt like you did. But I wanted to ask these students behind me, who have, many of them say they support this demonetization drive, but with this new order, do you all agree with this new thing as well, that if you deposit more than 5,000, you'll be asked questions? You still agree with that? But what would you say to what, you know, to the points that have been raised by Professor Yogendra Yadav? What would you say about that? Yeah. Why do you support it?
Yeah, it's good because you know, government will have a good track on people that who are depositing more and who are depositing less. So it's good.
It will increase the transparency of our country. Yeah. It will make all the transactions more transparent. There will be less tax evasion. It will help in promoting cashless economy.
So Professor Yogendra Yadav, as you see, a lot of students actually, despite the trouble going through, and that's what we heard in the queues as well when we asked as well, many people really confused and upset But many also saying that, well, if in the end it brings about transparency, the government has to do what it has to do. I also just want to bring in A.S. Sharma, a bureaucrat and someone who has written to the Prime Minister as well, talking about why he doesn't think that this works. Mr. Sharma, you heard what Yogendra Yadav talked about with this new rule. How would you agree with what he's saying?
I generally agree with Yogendra Yadav. See, let me say that we all welcome any campaign against black money and corruption. But I believe that demonetization is only a very small step in that direction.
See, there is a confidence crisis which is creeping all over the country because of far too many changes in policy. Today, most ATMs are not working, at least in Visakhapatnam and Hyderabad, where I happen to go. And today, for example, even to draw money from my own account, when I stand in the queue, I'll have to wait for a long time. And most banks have no small change. So, if the government had prepared for this, perhaps it would have been a very good measure. And then one thing that bothers all of us is that many big fish, lavish weddings performed all over the country after the Prime Minister's announcement, not a single person has been booked. And they are doing some raids here and there, very scattered. So, I think this confidence crisis which is creeping, which is not a very happy thing. I've written several letters to the Prime Minister, one letter to the Finance Minister. 3.2 million debit cards were actually hacked recently. And there was a forensic audit ordered on that. What happened to that report? Nobody knows. So there is a certain amount of fear. And imagine 70% of the donations to the political parties are made in cash by anonymous donors. So in such a case, to ask people to get into a cashless economy, especially the unorganized sector, I think is absolutely, absolutely unacceptable.
Okay, so, you talked about the poll reforms, and I want to get a comment on that from Yogendra Yadav as well. But before that, I just want to get in over here Major General Anil Verma, who is of the ADR, and they've done various reports on political funding. Now, one of the things, as A.S. Sharma was also mentioning, is that political parties, whether it's the government or the opposition, and we'll be speaking to the Congress in just a bit as well, but they all are ones. We don't know about the newer parties, as you're saying, because your scrutiny has been on the big parties. So perhaps Swaraj Abhiyan might be totally different in what it does. But your view has been, what your results of your surveys have been, that they all are very, very oblique when it comes to scrutiny.
Yeah, there is no doubt all the political parties are opaque in their public funding and the financial transparency is concerned. As far as this demonetization, I'll just make one point that in the beginning we thought that it may make a little difference in the upcoming
You all welcomed it
in
ADR.
But the way it, of course, demonetization by itself is not sufficient. It requires a lot of other reforms in terms of taxation laws and various other things to really make a difference towards the black money is concerned. We consider the political party funding as the fountainhead of corruption and black money. Because unless these horrendous amounts of black money which is used during the elections is curbed, is reduced, because as you're all aware, there is no limit or ceiling on the amount which a political party can get or spend.
Right.
What we are upset now about this
in fact,
demonetization.
There's a great WhatsApp move which says that if you want to change your black money into white, there are 4 steps. You open a political party, which is easy because there are lots of political parties which have registered without ever contesting an election, and then you make donations less than 20,000. Then you put it into the bank, and that's how it becomes white.
There are about 1,940 some registered parties which are existing, out of which only 430 or some take part in elections.
Funds.
No, it is one of the major we don't know, just like shell companies are created, who is creating these other political parties which never take part in elections. So you dump some money there and you get tax exemption. The corporates donate, they get tax exemption, so both way it works. But point which I was making was that the demonetization now, the government has issued this thing that political parties can deposit whatever amount they wish to. This is outright money laundering. Anybody can give money to the political parties in the old notes and they
Yeah.
can deposit it. So, I mean, this is highly objectionable.